I'd like to say hello to everyone who's with us, who's joined us in this webinar. I'd like to start with the introductions first. I'll start with myself. My name is Shahab Malik and I look after sales at TallyMarks Consulting, TMC. We are an SAP Gold Partner company specializing in implementing SAP solutions, license resell. We also provide cloud services, S4 managed cloud, and we also focus on business intelligence solutions as master sellers of Click and SAP Gold Partners. So with just a quick introduction, I'd like to invite my distinguished panel. I'd like to start with Mr. Colin. Mr. Colin, if you could please give a brief introduction, and then we'll move on to Mr. Adnan and Mr. Akhtar.
Hi, thank you. My name's Colin Smith. I'm the e-commerce director at Sadaqat Global Limited in Manchester in the United Kingdom. We're the largest office outside of Pakistan as a business unit of the Sadaqat Limited in Pakistan. In the UK, we have a multi-channel e-commerce business proposition where we provide products and services across 10 or a dozen different e-commerce channels. Those e-commerce channels broadly are B2C, so business to customer, and in some cases B2B. Our largest categories of growth at the moment that we're seeing is across Amazon and eBay. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Adnan, I'd like the over to you.
Yes, sure. My name is Adnan Tahir. I'm a senior functional consultant over here. I'm looking after the SAP SD and SAP CU and partially MM and PP as well. So along with that, I'm looking after the business user trainings and the all SAP Commerce Cloud regarding SGL and Pakistan from Pakistan side. So this is the brief history for myself.
Great. Mr. Adnan, the director from Sadaqat Limited to join us. Have they joined on the call?
Yes, sir. He is over here. So
if you can please ask him to introduce, and then we'll start.
Sorry, Paul, are you there? Just hold on. Let me check with him. So, sir, our as our general manager, Mr. Akhtar Mujahid is with us. So, sir, please, can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Muhammad Akhtar Mujahid. Just joined Sadaqat as general manager, SAP projects. I have experience of SAP from 2009, nearly 12 years of SAP implementation and development experience. I was working for a large group of Pakistan chemical industries, Sara Chemical Industries, from 2004, and they implemented SAP in 2008.
Wow. That's a long time ago. So thank you, Mr. Akhtar, for the introduction. We'll officially start the session. As you all know, the topic which we're going to be discussing today is the CX journey of Sadaqat Limited, how it all started and where we're heading. That's basically going to be the entire agenda of the session. Starting with the first question. So the first question is really going to set the flow of our discussion. The first question is, and I would like to go one by one. I'd like to first pose the question to Mr. Colin, get his opinion, and then we'll go turn by turn. So, Mr. Colin, so what were the key business drivers, or shall I say, business challenges that that led to the company's decision of going for a CX solution, going for a solution which would help you and meet your business objectives. So what were those key business drivers which led you to that decision?
From my perspective, the key business drivers that led the business to this decision were around the global implementation of SAP and the global ambition of Sadaqat Limited in Pakistan. When I joined the business 2 years ago in Manchester, I inherited a spider's web of systems, I would say, and software applications that were trying to present stock to customers and present a CX solution to customers, but gave no control whatsoever over stock inventory, stock accuracy, availability reporting, and ultimately the from purchase to cash process. So from the purchasing of the products by the end user all the way through to invoicing and through to cash. Those 3 or 4 systems had been inherited over time. The business had selected a variety of software solutions to manage that process, and over time and added them together to the point where they weren't strategically aligned with one another. So the business was struggling with day-to-day basic functionality. If you marry that issue with Sadaqat Limited global ambition around the implementation of SAP and the standardization of how it accounts for its business, then the two situations perfectly marry together to lead us to need an end-to-end CX solution, which is where the Hybris SAP implementation has come from. It's a complete end-to-end solution that allows us to present stock available to our customers. It allows us to control inbound and outbound stock management. It allows us to monitor margin, sales, stock, and availability. And more importantly, is a direct dial into the FI side of SAP. So all of the financial packages kind of back into that CX solution as well. If you take it.
So, yeah. Please continue.
I was just going to say, if you take the e-commerce environment within the UK, within the United Kingdom, particularly over the last 2 years, we've seen an explosion in the volume and value of the e-commerce business in the UK. And that perfectly marries with our ambition to be a multi-channel operator in the UK.
Got it. Understood. Mr. Adnan, I'd like to get your views on the same question. What were those key business drivers that led you to the decision of procuring a CX, a customer experience solution? You're on mute, Mr.
Adnan. Sorry. Actually, before starting to the ambitions and the really need of CX implementation in Sadaqat Global Limited, so I would like to share with my some of customer experience history of SAP. So SAP began laying foundation for the SAP customer experience back in 2013, right? So with the arrival of 2015 S4HANA, SAP SAP began moving existing lines of the business to this platform. So while financial and logistic capabilities, the main transaction focus when the launching SAP S4HANA. SAP also focused on developing new products for all lines of businesses, including successor of CRM. So later that SAP when SAP began in 2013, it's acquired a platform, SAP Hybris. So after that, SAP announced as Cloud for HANA back in 2018. So it is moved to Cloud for HANA for Sapphire Now Technology Conference. So back in now June 2020, SAP rebranded Cloud for HANA to Customer Experience. Okay, so as you know that Shahabhai, nowadays customer has a power than never ever before. Okay, so our main challenge is that commerce tools are rigid and don't talk to each other. Okay, so we want really a platform where meaningful, trusted relationship with our customers where will be helped to one. We are now happy cloud commerce cloud customer. So and we are feeding solution which give our customer and with great experience and great great connectivity. I must say that. So by leveraging flexibility and power of commerce, so customer cloud experience has given the most of the benefits like product content management and order fulfillment, and last but not least, which is very important, the product should reach the product to customer at the right time, and the right product should reach the customer at the exact time. So that's the what I feel. This is the meaningful and trusted environment that has given the SAP customer experience to us.
Got it, understood. Mr. Akhtar, what are your views on the same question? That what were the main drivers which led to Sadaqat's decision of implementing a CX solution?
As I have already told you that I have just joined 2 weeks before, but
sir, please. Sir, please.
But what I have learned that SAP is a matured product, and when you are going for the B2B solution, I think this is the right decision to have SAP solution rather than any third-party solution which have one or two functionalities missing. Like Colin has already told yet that they were using the system which was not connected with the FI or controlling, but SAP has delivered the solution which is integrated in all respects with MM or FI or controlling. Even you have your P&L or the cost. So I think this is a good decision to have SAP solution which have all the functionalities which a business requires on global level.
Shwabai, providing that actually is a main another effort which we should not forget at this time. So there is a Mr. Muzammal Jamil. This is the basically at the time of back in 2018 or 19. So towards to Commerce Cloud, it is the first the person which we should not forget that at this time. There is a lots of effort involved for the Mr. Muzammal Jamil, and it is very good to we have right now Mr. Muzammal Jamil before Sir Atar over here. So it is the very joint effort from Mr. Muzammal Jamil as well.
Got it, understood. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Akhtar, Mr. Adnan, for your valuable input and insight into how this all came to start. So my next question sort of leads on from the first question is that when the company decided that we are going to implement a customer experience solution, what were the key functionalities, capabilities that you were looking for when you were conducting the search for a customer experience solution, searching the market and talking with software vendors? So what were the key capabilities and functionalities? And the team has already, especially you, Colin, you've already highlighted some key capabilities and functionalities which are already leveraging from the SAP CX solution. But during that time when you were in the process of selection, so what were the key thoughts, key things that you were looking for in your for Sadaqat Limited, for your company?
In addition to the functionality that we've already discussed, one of the things that Adnan mentioned is around the content management. the most time-consuming effort required to maintain close customer contact and drive our sales forward is our ability to upload and manage content on the website and also across multiple channels. The solution that the business moved forward with and has worked with TallyMarks on allows us to upload bulk content relatively quickly into the cloud commerce solution, and for us to adapt that content both from a written content perspective, but also from a digital asset perspective, from a photography, from a media asset perspective, allows us to maintain all of that asset really with a relatively low amount of effort. So looking at it from a user's perspective in terms of uploading content and actually getting a website to a commercial position, that would be one of the key functionalities during the scope of the project that was required. I would also say that the solution needs to be adaptable and needs to be flexible enough to take in multi-channel e-commerce sales and inventory management, which the Hybris solution certainly does. It's flexible enough for us to move away from our platform, our website platform, and integrate directly with other forms of e-commerce software and indeed other e-commerce platforms. So those would be the two key things from my perspective: the user interface in terms of straightforward hybrid, and then also its flexibility in terms of its adaptability to other e-commerce channels. I think you would agree, Adnan?
Yeah. Shabik, should I proceed?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. As Mr. Colin is the one our key member of our family. So as he mentioned that our main challenges, before our implementing this thing in our business entity, the first first of all challenges we are using right now SAP ECC legacy in SGL in UK. So we were finding an SAP system which gives us seamless integration with our customers and with real-time connectivity. In other words, seamless connectivity. We were looking at a system where right product should available to the customer at the right time, and this is done through customer experience management of the Commerce Cloud. So we wanted a tool where as I mentioned, the first thing, the product information. We are finding a system where we find a system where our product information should store in centralized content repository, okay, and manage large amounts of products items simultaneously, right? So for example, our upload our images, our product price and price rates, our taxes, our rules for the category and catalogs. So in other words, another challenge was our order management. Okay, for companies, it is very serious coordinate orders coming from numerous touch points, right? So Commerce Cloud achieves end-to-end in inventory visibility, as Mr. Collins said that we want the real-time stock inventory reconciliation and stock integration with our SAP ECC because and we want the product also from on another third party. We want a product from SAP family. So or as I mentioned, order management has captured from this difficulty from the SAP Commerce Cloud. So this is the where our our challenges met through CX Cloud.
Got it. So integration, the ability to integrate with your existing systems to really complete that journey, complete that that customer life cycle, a good modern user interface. So these are just some of the key things that that I'm taking in. That were some key requirements that you were looking for. So you decided on the SAP CX offering, and now when Sadaqat embarked upon the journey of implementing it. Any particular experiences, and I would ask opinions on all the from all the gentlemen from Sadaqat here, that any particular experiences that you would like to share that from the implementation journey. So love to hear from Mr. Colin. Let's start with you, sir.
Yeah, there are many things that come to mind. Adnan and the team have worked very hard, and TallyMarks have worked very hard on this project. So there were many long hours, late nights, early mornings. I would say, but overall, the piece for me would be that whoever and wherever you're implementing this kind of CX solution, the partnership needs to be very flexible and very agile, very agile, because at the start of the project, Adnan and I and the TallyMarks team had a destination in sight. We could see the top of the mountain and we could see where we wanted to get to. But as you take that first step up the mountain, a snow blizzard might come across your path and you need to reassess what you're doing. And it's very important to have agile partnerships around you when those kind of situations arise. And that's no different in this CX solution implementation. We pivoted a number of times away from the original scope of the project and tactically moved towards a different solution as we ventured further and further up the mountain, if you will. And so I would share the experience of having to have a good teamwork and the ability to be agile and to be able to pivot away from a particular destination. That ability, I would say, has allowed us to explore the other opportunities within the Hybris CX solution that are multi-channel solutions. So not only have we been looking at the integration of our own website into SAP HANA through Hybris, but we've also explored integration to Amazon vendor, Amazon seller, eBay seller, and ultimately through another third-party software solution as well. And thankfully, as we got halfway up the mountain, the clouds cleared and we could see where we really needed to get to. And a lot of that integration work was done off the original scope of the project, I would say. So yeah, the key thing that stands out for me is in this project over the last 12 months has been the development of a very strong team and a flexible team that won't take no for an answer and will pivot to a different solution if required.
Valuable. I absolutely agree. Thank you for pointing out such an important aspect of really, and this applies to really any transformation project. When a company embarks upon such projects, it's the secret sauce really is when the implementation team and the customer team really gel into one unit, and they have a shared objective, a clear objective in sight, and they work together in harmony. That is when true magic really takes place. And I absolutely agree, Mr. Colin. That is 100% true. Mr. Dan, I saw you smile a little bit when I said that any particular experiences you'd like to share. So I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Adnan, don't tell them about calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. Adnan will work. Adnan, there was two occasions when Adnan worked through the night.
Actually, Shabai, as far as, especially the implementation partner is concerned, as you know, that it is a benchmark for, the TallyMarks Consulting. It is the benchmark for them to implement this CX cloud in entire region. So it is more than access, which me and myself, and as I mentioned before, Zamal Bhai, Umair Bhai from TallyMarks, Rao Bhai from TallyMarks, and Danish Bhai from TallyMarks. It is the priceless efforts day and night efforts. As you know, it is a bit personal, but we can't sleep for the month, 2 and 3 hours. This is what we have done this CX Cloud in our region. So what I believe, as far as the special it is the main challenge, and which is that, as you know, that the omni channel in Commerce Cloud is the biggest the tool which we can use to integrate our channels. In our case, Amazon, Progo, and Groupon. It's a very important omni channel from my side. So it was the challenge. So from the tailored accelerators, as you know, that CX Cloud is itself tailored accelerators where B2C and B2B is performing over there. So we done this with our internal omnichannel. All omnichannel is from one platform, which is the Lineworks. It has created with cron jobs. So by that way, so it was our challenge, and we have done very good way. Sorry, your mic is mute, Shabi.
Sorry. This is absolutely brilliant stuff. Coming from the team, it's really exciting to see the possibilities that now that you have access to platforms such as Amazon, such as these, and this is exactly what is in line with even if you talk about the government initiatives that the Pakistani government is taking. And the textile sector has a huge focus area for the government. And
definitely,
this is brilliant, because right now what we're moving towards, or trying to get the country to go towards, is export-led growth. That's the true growth of the company when the economy of a country becomes export-led. The growth is export-led. So these initiatives are actually helping large textile companies, which has always been a strong point of Pakistan. And so these kind of solutions are really helping textile companies to break into new territories, break into new markets, and really have the chance to maximize their export, and try to penetrate new markets, and make customers realize that the quality which Pakistan has to offer. So this is brilliant. This is there's so much potential here, and there's so much that and I'd be very interested to see the performance of Sadaqat from this year onwards, and see which direction the company takes in the next 365 days or so.
Thank you.
So really interesting. My next question is that, let's say a textile company in Pakistan, or any business for that matter, is now considering, hopefully after watching this webinar, is considering that this is not such a bad idea. Let's go for it. Let's implement a CX solution at my organization. What advice would you give to that company or organization? So I'd be very interested to know, and I'm sure the people listening in would like to know what advice you would give them. So Mr. Colin, if you can please shed light on this.
Yeah, I think the piece for me there is the scope of the project. The scope of the project absolutely defines how successful implementation will be. And my advice would be is not to try and replicate your current processes. So a business may be in a position where it's looking to implement a CX solution. Obviously, the CX solution that we are working with is a derivative of SAP. So in the first instance, SAP in itself is a great product, but is a product that needs a lot of consideration in terms of implementation. So the scope of the overall project is the main thing, working back from the CX solution all the way back into the FI, the SD, so the financial side of things, the sales and distribution, materials management, cost control, and control over inventory. Is it a project where you're looking to completely start afresh with a new ERP? Or is it a project where you're literally trying to bolt on the CX solution from a Hybris perspective? Those would be the first two questions I would ask myself. And then the second part would be to make sure the scope of the project doesn't replicate the current processes that you currently use, because they will be in no way they'll be in no way better than the SAP solution that can be offered. As I mentioned earlier, the systems that we inherited a couple of years ago were all built on top of one another with no real end solutions. In some ways, the project that we started with and the project scope that we started with tried to mirror and replicate those processes. And actually, SAP and Hybris is a much more powerful CX and ERP tool than anything we had in the UK at the time in our office. And my advice would be to take on board what's available in SAP first within the ERP, and then look at the CX solution and see if that CX solution, the Hybris solution, provides all of the control that you need and the B2B and B2C opportunities. And that would be my last piece of advice around which way is the business heading? Is it heading towards B2B or is it heading towards B2C? And that can do independently of one, but it's really important at the start of the project to know which tactic you're trying to employ first. Because SAP and Hybris is a powerful B2B tool, but it's also a powerful B2C tool. But both processes are very different in terms of end user experience and require different amounts of effort. The B2C channel requires significant amount of effort to implement, and whilst the B2B is significantly more straightforward, I would say, from a Hybris and implementation perspective. Yeah, so those are the things I would say around the scope of the project. Be really clear on what that is.
Agreed. Very important points to keep in mind. Mr. Adnan, what would be your input on this?
Shahbhai, there is not single answer to this question. It depends how to use SAP Customer Experience. Depends on which solution of SAP Customer Experience Solutions Suite to the customer has chosen to use. Implementation, for example, implementation, transfer data, ERP integration, SAP integration with other solutions, or you can it is a time-consuming and very technical task. So not every company, as Mr. Colin said, that need a solution, complete solution suite. As you know that there is 5 clouds in this customer experience: marketing cloud, service cloud, customer cloud data, and last but not least, sales cloud, and finally your commerce cloud. Okay, so for example, we are relating to SAP Customer Experience Suite, also called SAP Cloud, as I mentioned before. It turns to customer experience through 5 different solutions. Okay, so as you know that we are a trading company. So the commerce cloud is the main, our focus to develop the one-sided and seamless integration and our basic needs to get into it. So according to our needs, as I previously briefed, so every company should cater its own requirement towards to the implemented commerce cloud suite. So if we talk about, for example, if we talk about the marketing cloud, marketing cloud will help to determine where focus your marketing efforts and which channels to use. Also, it also tells you what your customer want and not just what they can offer. So in other hand, the customer cloud data. Okay, the customer cloud data allows you to turn anonymous and visitors into customer for your life. So right now, for example, any customer reach your website. So before this customer experience suite, you don't know your customer service team, what customer and what the activities has performed onto your cloud. So it relates to another company which is dealing with with the directly to the customer. It is the complete suite. For example, the sales cloud. Sales clouds offer a comprehensive and seamless experience, help you to fully engage with your customers in real time. With the customers sales cloud, you can quickly run valuable insight into effective actions. Moreover, the solution can help you nature for your customers, and cloud enables to the integration with back office. It's another tool, inventory system or pricing. So it is a complete suite. Another, the service cloud. The service cloud will help to you to provide the services that customers expect, while at same time increase your productivity. This is achievable with multiple tools within SAP Service Cloud. Furthermore, it allows the integration of Service Cloud tools and platform into one interface. It is a complete suite, and it is for my opinion, every manufacturing or trading company should go for the commerce cloud first, and after their needs, it can launch more and more.
Great point. Great point, Mr. Adnan. And actually, I would take your point forward. It's now almost undebated that data is the new oil. Data is now considered as the most valuable asset of any organization. So as Adnan, you rightly mentioned that you're able to capture data through that all important customer data through the system. Really, what is that advantage which you now have, which you didn't before the system was implemented? So in terms of collecting that all important data, how good of a position is now Sadaqat compared to 6-7 months ago? So Colin, if you'd like to, we'd like to hear what you have to say on this.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Again, just going back to the legacy systems that we had a couple of years ago, each system had its own reporting tool, and a lot of the information was being pulled out of those systems independently of one another and manually. So there was a lot of effort required to review sales volume, sales value. We weren't even close to getting a sales margin calculation on a daily and weekly basis from those systems. The SAP ERP and the CX implementation of Hybris gives us real-time access to the sales value, the volume, and more importantly, the margin that those individual items and materials are making for us. So tactically, within a trading period, within a quarter, we can assess our best-selling styles, the styles that are most valued by our customers, and we can repeat buy more and more of those products and give better availability to those customers. At the same time, we can review our worst selling styles and our worst margin styles, and in doing so allows us to trade out of those products and in turn leave more space in our logistics system for new products to be implemented across the CX solution and through the ERP. So visibility of data is absolutely key in the ability to trade e-commerce within the UK. And the CX solution gives us real-time access to that data.
As you already pointed out, that the CX system is helping you capture important data regarding your customers. Now that they say that data is the single most valuable asset of any organization. So how much of in a more advantageous situation is now Sadaqat Limited position thanks to the CX solution?
Yeah. Actually, Shabi, before that, when you, my stance is that when customer, as you know that customer is the king of right now. So it is very much important that first of all, he should be when customer share your data to yourself. It also expect the data should use very for the benefit of the customer, and it's also expect that in the near future if the product or anything that he's expecting from us, it should be up to the standards. Thanks for customer experience. So it is in its it's a functionality of the classification, and it's there is two type of and the functionalities which customer will find at its side, and it's the organization perspectives as well. So it has leverages, and it has the the multitasking at the one time and centralized system. So we can display the data very accurately and centralizedly to the customer, where you can give the multiple variants and multiple options to the customer to know your product very preciously and very with seamless integration. Right now, as another, the integration with TallyMarks and from ISR as given is giving for the customer beneficial and more, the more benefit from both of us, which is the ITD, configuration. It is the first configuration from at CX as well, which will helps the customer to the track its product for the real time at its own site, which it will give you the customer the shipping as mostly the our competitors. If you talk about the Alibaba, Shopify, which giving the customer the right tracking of its shipment. So we are working, and you will we will be happy to announce that very soon. So our shipping integration with customer will be live very soon.
Mr. Adnan, you're already answering my questions. So the question that I already have lined up, so you somehow get a feel for what my next question is going to be. That's really interesting. Mr. Colin, you probably have a good idea right now as well what my next question is going to be. This is really good. This is really just to conclude our session. Just to get your view on the road ahead. On the road ahead, the CX journey of Sadaqat, which has started. How do you see the road ahead? How do you see the transformation, the further transformation taking place over the next 2 to 5 years? So I'd like to hear your views on that.
Yeah, thank you. There are two strands to this. One is the B2B and one is the B2C. So business to business development from Sadaqat Global Limited in the UK and pan-European is around direct integration through the CX, through the Hybris solution into those major platforms as we talked about. So working closer and closer with Amazon, with eBay, with Frugo, when those businesses are businesses such as Sadaqat in Pakistan to provide a CX solution and range solution, a selection solution. So a wide width of products from textiles, in fashion, in bed linen, from beauty products to all different types of products that we can offer. Those platforms are very, very keen for businesses like Sadaqat Global Limited to be directly integrated into their systems. So on the B2B side, being And then separately, the B2C to customer to the consumer in the UK is a completely separate journey. That journey may entail multiple website storefronts based on the same business model that TallyMarks and Sadaqat have delivered for the bed linen, UK bed linen own brand website. One of the strategies involved in the long term may be that we reskin that website to provide a customer journey for beauty products, or that there's a fashion website that's set up, or that there's a nutrition site that's set up. And all of that can be, as I understand it, can be developed from within the Hybris SAP e-commerce cloud solution. And in doing so, the business has many opportunities that it should assess over the coming months and years as to decide where to put that effort. But as I understand it, the CX solution is flexible enough to adapt to any of those strategies. So multiple websites in the UK and multiple B2B direct connectivity is how I think we should take forward the solution.
Really exciting stuff. Hearing Mr. Colin there, talk about some opportunities which now are, present thanks to the Hybris and the customer experience capabilities, which you now enjoy. So, the opportunities to diversify, set up storefronts, like that. So really, really exciting stuff. But Mr. Adnan, if you would like to take your views on this as well.
Yes, Shabir, there's lots of things to say, but my request is that it is a humble request. Sir Atar is with me, General Manager, but one personality which is we are forgetting. It's Mr. Muhammad Muzammal Jamil. So fortunately, he's with us. So Muzammal bhai, can you please share your experiences? So I personally want to share your comments over there.
Oh, is Mr. Muzammil with us on the call? Mr.
Yes,
Muzammil, would love to hear from you as well on this specifically. You having been involved in the project, taking lead on this project. So we'd love to hear your thoughts and your views on how you see the CX journey ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Are you able to listen to me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Welcome, Mr. Muzammil.
Shweb, I was leading that project. I joined Sadaqat in 2018, and from that, my main focus was to implement the SAP. So choosing the CX solution, there was a lot of history behind that. My best friend, Mr. Colin, has believed, and Mr. Adnan Tara believed very well. So there were a lot of issues. There was no syncing in the systems. Like we were using G-Smart and the Linworks and Magento and other Sage tools. So the main focal area was to choose the CX was the seamless integration, which is always helps to calculate, measure the data and doing all the things. So we have a very good, very best experience with the CX solution till I was there on the Sadaqat premises. So my remarks that if you have a good partner, as we have the TallyMarks on the board, much compromising, much flexible, and you have the good team and you have the knowledge of the process mapping, that would be the best solution. I worked on the different, you can say, the portfolios for the customer relations, the CRM, the good names, the Salesforce, and the Microsoft and the other as well. So, but the real need to choose that solution was the seamless integration with the SAP and the availability of the features. And the one most valuable thing is the expansion. Like you have the market cloud, you have the different cloud which can be used without any crux, or you can say without any hindrance. So the main reason, the main focal to choosing the cloud was there, and to choose the TallyMarks was their flexibility and the team in the Pakistan. So thanks from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Muzammil. Great points, and I fully agree. The modular nature of the CX portfolio, which SAP has to offer, really does present a lot of value for businesses like Sadaqat and many other large businesses. That modular nature really does give a lot of benefit. You can scale up. You can add more and more functionality as and when required. So really, it gives customers peace of mind. Thank you. Those points were extremely important and definitely sheds a lot of light as to why Sadaqat chose SAP CX and how it's proving to be a success. So with that, I'd like to close the session. I'd like to thank my respected panel. We're very lucky, very privileged to have Sadaqat Limited as our customer, and seeing Sadaqat now embark upon this journey ahead really makes me happy, and also very humbled by what we can achieve together in the days and weeks and months to come. So with that, I'd like to thank Mr. Athar, Mr. Adnan, Mr. Colin, Mr. Muzammil, and I'd like to thank everyone who joined us in this webinar today. I hope you were able to get some valuable information from all the experts that we had on the webinar. Thank you all. It was a pleasure, and looking forward to connecting with you